Mr. Huber? I need a gavel, Linda. I need a gavel. What happened to that?
Monsieur Huber. That's about to be stand up on French. That was a good French.
All right, Robin. All right, good evening and welcome. This is the meeting of Monday, July 17th, 2017. This meeting is being held in accordance with public laws of 1975, Chapter 231, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the Township's website. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could remain standing for a minute of silence for our troops, both here and abroad.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Stampoulis.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Vassallo is on vacation. Committeewoman Budzinowski.
Here.
Committeewoman Dubois.
Here.
Committeeman Huber.
Here.
Okay, first we'll start off with some proclamations and announcements, but I do want to wish our Township Attorney a very happy birthday, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that.
Okay, so we have a few announcements to be made. Our next Township Committee meeting will be held on August 15th. That's a Tuesday, correct, Linda? Mm-hmm. Okay, Tuesday, August 15th. We're only going to be having one meeting in August, so mark your calendars. We are going to be continuing with that outdoor concerts. I had the opportunity the first night to go. It was a great turnout. Every second Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 on our town lawn. We'll have bands performing. We are continuing with the electronic recycling, which will be from Saturday, August 5th through, Saturday, August 5th from 7 to 11 at the pool. Every Monday we have our farmers market, which is held from 11 to 6 at the Springfield Public Library. Union County will be presenting The Taming of the Shrew with free admission on Sunday, July 23rd at 7 p.m. and on Friday, August 4th at 7 p.m. Please join us all for our National Night Out, which will be Tuesday, August 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. at Mizell Park. At this time, we'll open it up to public comment on agenda items only. If anyone from the public would like to come forward and speak about agenda items only, please come forward. Agenda items only. Anyone? Okay, seeing none.
Oh,
Agenda items. Anything on this agenda you can come speak about. State your name and address.
Hi, Warren Temkin, 33 Gate Street. Is there an opportunity to talk about flood matters at the time those minutes are accepted? Is that the right time, or to add that now as a topic for the end?
We can leave it. Well, if you like, we can. We're going to be accepting it later on in our meeting, and you're very welcome to come up afterwards in the public comment area.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to reports.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'd like to approve the total amount of payroll and vouchers for the period of 6/28 to 7/17 for $5,282,258.
A second.
Committeewoman Budzinowski.
Yes.
Committeewoman Dubois.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Mayor Stampoulis.
Yes.
I'd like to approve the summer recreation personnel as submitted.
My second?
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Committeewoman Budzinowski.
Yes.
Committeewoman Dubois.
Yes.
Mayor Stampoulis.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Quick. Would you like to update us on your budget
Sure.
status report?
Absolutely. As everybody got my report on Friday, the bad news is it did hit 57%. Of course, we're already 50% through the entire year. But the very good news is that almost $5.5 million of that has been absorbed, and you won't see that again for the rest of the year. So if you subtract that out, we're just going to be really on target, and all of our large hits, which is the RVSA, the Police Retirement Fund, the PERS, and uncollected taxes have all now been absorbed. So I can actually say we're looking good.
Great, I'd like to hear that. Any questions?
No.
I have just one question, that's not for Mike. Have we started advertising his job yet?
No, not yet.
Well, I
That
mean,
he's not leaving till the 2018.
no, he's leaving November or something, right? Is it? I don't know. What is the date that you no longer work for Springfield?
February 28th is my last date, but I'm going to be using quite a bit of time up in late November and early December.
I just want, I thought it was coming up, and I'm sorry, wait a minute, we gotta get things.
Right, yeah, my plan was to actually have something on executive session for the next meeting.
Oh,
Just
okay.
discuss the process and
Well, you know, whatever the process is, okay?
Any other questions? Any questions on the tax collector's report as submitted? No. Okay, good evening, Chief Cook.
Good evening. I'll kind of be brief on my report. A few things I'd like to mention. One thing in regards to training, we had one of our detectives attend UCR crime statistics and updated recording and reporting procedures. What does that mean? Well, it's the state police and the FBI selected just a few towns within Union County. We were one of them, and it's there's a new initiative. It's called the National Crime Statistics Exchange Initiative, where statistics are going to be input more into a national database, which would give us access to more crime statistics. And the benefit of that is the ultimate goal of that program is they're hoping that it would better identify with precision when and where crimes take place and what types of crimes and the characteristics of victims and perpetrators, which would kind of give us, I mean, nothing's 100% guaranteed, but it is something that the ROC does now, which is something run by the state. But this would be more on a national basis to help us, hear myself talk, to help us to try to spot crimes before they take place, to see the types of environments that kind of attract crimes, and to better combat them. So we were selected to participate in that. We sent one of our detectives away for that training. It was a week training, and it was at the expense of the FBI. Came back with a lot of good information. On my overtime, I'd just like to note that the overtime for the month of June this year compared to last year was reduced by about 50%. A lot of that is to do with having more staffing, which I appreciate, and a big part of it also was due to this time in June of last year, we unfortunately had the serious the crime, the two homicides that we had, which was a lot of casework overtime. But again, as you can see with the numbers and the hours, the vacation was highly affected as well by having the personnel to alleviate vacation overtime. One other thing I'd like to mention, unfortunately, we did have, again, a victim, an overdose victim. By the time we were made aware that the parents found the victim, too much time had elapsed and we were not able to save that individual, unfortunately. However, we're still investigating that as far as taking cell phone records, and we do try to, if we can trace back where narcotics were obtained from, we do look to prosecute the persons that supplied the drugs. So that is still under investigation. And I'll let that particular item segue into, and I know that I believe the mayor had attended a meeting with the prosecutor's office on this. The county has a new program that they're starting is known as CLEAR, which is a Community Law Enforcement Addiction Recovery. We're looking to give an avenue for anyone who has an addiction problem and is looking for help to come to the police departments throughout Union County, and we will direct them in a direction to get the help that they need. So it's all my personnel are aware of it. Should anyone walk in, where to direct them to. At this point, it involves the sheriff's, the prosecutor's office, and the county police as far as points of transition, and that's going to continue to grow. It's a program that just started, so again, we're a part of it, being Union County, and it's just another way of trying to help to alleviate the epidemic that we've been seeing with heroin and other opiates that are creating these overdose statistics. Other than that, I know National Night was mentioned. That is a great time if anyone gets to come out. Other than that, if you have any questions on my report, I'll be more than happy to take them.
All right, Chief, I do. If I come in or someone comes in from the outside and wants help, the record sealed. I think it's a big thing with the teenagers.
On the CLEAR program?
The program that you're offering, in other words, to help the people, help kids, because I know it's a big thing with kids. They feel, if they come in and they say, oh, I have this problem, I have drugs, whatever it is, they want it sealed. They don't want everybody in the world to know about it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a criminal issue for there to be even a file on it. We want to get them to help. If it's a juvenile, then obviously we're going to have to make parents.
Yes.
But we're not trying to target, all right, we know that person's got a problem.
Okay.
We're looking to help them. We're not looking to keep a track of who they are. We just want to get them the help that they need.
Actually, let me just make a comment, because I was at the meeting and I spoke with the prosecutor, Grace, and this is a test pilot that they started in June from Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, they will not turn anybody away. They will help anybody that wants and needs help. They're there for us. If somebody comes in to our department Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, and we don't have the resources to transport them, they will gladly come here and work with our staff. And really, they have a lot of resources to try to make this program work. There is a flyer. I suggest everybody have one, and
If there's some more information, like written
exactly.
information.
So there's a lot of help out there. What happens is people don't know that their help is out there.
And that's what we're working on, right? So
Correct.
This is
So-
awesome, Chief. I'm so happy to hear about this, because this goes right along with what we've been talking about lately with the stigma-free. It's not just with mental health, but also with the mental health first aid training that's going to be September 9th. It helps people see the signs of addiction and hopefully catch it early enough in their loved ones so they can get help. So this is great that our township is doing this. I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to hear this. So if you need any help or anything else with it, please let me know.
So that's going on the website as well? That little flyer?
Yeah, I don't believe it's on our website yet, but I will make sure it gets up there.
Can you also, everybody's hitting you at once. When the school's open, I'd like you to get to the high school, I guess the middle school also, and asking for an assembly and talk about it. Because I want it out in the open, that we're there to help, or you're there to help, I shouldn't say that, but you're there to help. And that's what I want. I want us, the kids especially. I'm big with the kids.
Yeah, no, we've been doing that already throughout the school year at different times, different types of programs, whether it's bullying, whether it's drugs. I usually combine everything together. To try to hold their attention for a long period of time is a little tough sometimes, but yeah, we've always been involved with the schools and getting it out there. But this is just another resource that I can bring up this year coming.
Also, Sam, can we put this can we put this on the TV station? Sure. I don't know how we could do it. I'd just like to get together, you two get together and just try and see if we can. I mean, that to me is beneficial. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Okay,
you're welcome.
Any other questions for the chief? Good. We're all good? Thank you, Chief.
Good, thank you.
Okay, welcome, Chief Palumbo. How are you?
Good, thank you. Nice and brief. I'm just happy to report the fireworks went off without any issues, and I'm just a little nervous when it's a little dry out. We've been busy with plan reviews and issuing permits and overseeing. We're at just about the halfway mark with our fire inspections and receiving our rebates from the state. So we're on target to do it again for a full year and complete it. As far as that, I just received notice early last week on a good note, working with the grant writer. I applied for a grant, I believe it was March, April, and we were awarded a grant through Firehouse Subs and just shy of $12,000 to purchase and upgrade some extrication equipment. So just working out the logistics on that, we should receive it within the next 8 to 10 weeks. And so it's will allow us to be a little bit more versatile and a little bit free with it. It's a battery-powered tool, which allows us to go anywhere without the restriction of cords and motors and everything else. So other than that, if there's any questions I can answer, I'd be more than happy to.
What are the rebates for?
The rebates, so as we have about 150 to 154 life hazards in town, and what happens when we complete our inspections and they complete and close out, they register with the state, we receive a percentage back from the states that we completed the inspection. So we're about halfway through.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess something that you didn't mention, but I want to bring it up. Township Committee, we talked about it last year, I think. Or the year before, I know it was brought up. The fire alarm in the library is not hooked up to the firehouse, am I correct?
It's having trouble communicating.
Right. I mean, we have a brand new AC unit. You have books over there. Something could happen in the middle of the night, and these guys can sleep right through. I'm just, I'm not being nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, they can sleep right through it. It's not their fault. I'd like to get the attention to that. Also, the annex is not even hooked up. Is that a problem reading that also?
Yeah. From what I understand, the panels have become antiquated and need to. They're having trouble communicating. They're going into trouble every day.
And so, I mean,
Why hasn't this issue been addressed sooner?
Well,
I mean, I'm on the library board, it's 7 months, why hasn't? they
I don't
stated-
know, last year or the year before, I think we talked about it. We talked about the fire alarm with the library and that at one time. I remember bringing it and talking about it.
Yeah, Sam provided an explanation as to why the ducts, there was an issue with the panels over there and the need for an upgrade. You spoke about that, I believe, a year or two ago at the library.
Yeah.
Do
But
you
we
have,
haven't
can you
done it.
refresh our memory on that?
Are you talking about the plenum system that's in the library, or?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I want to be able to communicate from the library
Yeah.
and the annex over to the fire department without them guessing, saying, gee, I wonder if it's the real alarm this time. I mean, it's, we put this money into the library, but as, you guys know. Now, for the fire system, we have to get that up to date.
I was under the impression that is up to date,
No, it's not.
and I will find out. I was under the impression that our fire alarm company has taken care of that. But
Okay.
I will check on that.
Really?
Okay, and then just report back to Chief Blunt.
Please.
And you
I
guys
like that
communicate
business, yeah.
on both buildings.
What about the annex? The annex isn't up to date.
Yeah, we have a system in the annex, and
But it's false alarms.
yeah, I don't know why every once in a while we get false alarms, but there is a workable system. There's definitely a system that they are aware of when we have an issue.
I want to make sure everybody's safe in the building when they're working. I don't want
I will discuss this with Mr. Butcher later. We'll get it done.
Any other questions? No. Chief Blunt, thank you.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Lieb not coming today?
No, they'll be here. He just wanted to provide a report, but Mr. Lieb is not reporting, DPW is not reporting, or engineering.
Does anybody have any questions regarding?
This report mentions Halloween. We can't be talking about Halloween.
They gotta get ahead.
As a teacher, this is making me sad. We can't talk about Halloween.
I know they had a good crowd at the pool yesterday. I was there for pie in the face, and they enjoyed doing it to me. It was good, fun, you know.
I wish I do.
Wish I. Jen-in-law was there. I got her daughter to get her up there, and she did it. But it was good for the kids and everything else. The pool seems on weekends at least. I don't know what's like during the week. I'm never there.
The membership numbers look good.
Yeah, membership's good.
Overall.
Yep,
So that's
everybody's
good.
good.
The camp's doing good from what I'm told. I have grandchildren in there.
Yes, my
Diane,
4-year-old
yeah,
loves the camp, so thumbs up for that.
It's good.
She's a diva.
All right, Mr. Shadi, do you have a report for us?
I do. I've got a few things. First of all, I did mention to everybody that we would be unveiling this, and this is these are the architectural renderings of the pool house. The subcommittee has seen these, and all of you have seen them. I've emailed them to all of you. It's got the floor plans and the 3D renderings of the building. These will be posted in the Chisholm Community Center. It will be posted at the pool, and it will be posted here in Town Hall as well. And any moment now, it will also be going up live on the website as well for the public to see. So it's exciting, and if anybody would like, it'll be available here to peruse. So I'll put that just over here. And feel free to look at it.
It stands up.
Sorry?
Up and over there.
Yeah.
Are we out for bid? By any chance, did we get the prints back?
Yes. So I was just going to give an update.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. So we did go out to bid on that. We've got this Thursday, we've got a walkthrough with prospective bidders. The bids are due August 2nd. And then tentatively, it's scheduled for award on August 15th at the Township Committee meeting then. And we're hoping that it will start right after Labor Day. So
Yeah, but
it's going along nicely.
I don't want to hopefully. I want them, I told you, Sam, and it's right. I want them saying they have to start the day after Labor Day, not, I'm going to try and get there.
Well, we're not concerned with the start date as much as we are with the end date, and the bid package does say that they have to end by a certain day. So as long as they get done, you know, they've got to mobilize. There's, you know, it's a tight time frame between the 15th and the 5th. So, and there's demo, and there's a whole lot of things that need to happen. We also need to vacate the building. So we've got to empty everything out of it. So, you know, they can start on the project. They're not going to be able to start on the building the very next day for all those reasons. But, you know, it's in there that they have to end by May 29th. It's listed on there, but I think by May 29th.
Is that Labor Day?
The day before it opens.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. So it's got to be open for then. I did also, actually, before I get to that, I do want to address something. On the agenda tonight, you have a social media policy, and the ordinances pertaining to the township administrator do say that the administrator shall serve as the personnel officer, and that the township administrator is responsible for, quote, the maintenance and enforcement of sound personnel policies and practices, and shall study and make recommendations with regards to the personnel organizations and policies of the township. And so this is the only opportunity I have to provide you with some feedback on this, because the policy as it stands that's drafted before you for consideration, I would not consider it to be a sound policy or one that is really that enforceable. I did send it to Labor Council for their review, and Labor Council provided a number of concerns. Obviously, they only had a few hours to review it, but they did provide a few concerns with it related to its enforcement, its consistency, and also its legality, in some respects, concerns about the First Amendment. So I did take some notes on it. I just want to run through them briefly. In 3.2, it talks about creation and establishment of the...
Mr. Shadi, I appreciate your input. However, our township attorney drafted it, and I have my utmost confidence in our township attorney. So let's continue.
Well, with due respect to him, there are a number of concerns where it's actually inconsistent. So, for example, in 3.2, it says the township social media site is subject to the approval of the governing body. But then if you look at 5.5, it's inconsistent with 5.5. So there's two different things right there. That's just one of the inconsistencies. It also doesn't talk about a process for termination. It simply says that they may be terminated, but it doesn't go into the process for termination. As you know, with social media accounts, certain people have access to those accounts.
Yes,
but
and it also states that the governing body will take action. So can
Sure.
you move on to your report regarding credit or debit?
Well, I mean, there's a couple more concerns here as to why. So, I mean, if you adopt it, it's going to be unenforceable, is the point.
Okay.
Being that enforcement lies with the township administrator, you'd want something that's enforceable.
I'm going to go on the recommendation of our township attorney. Thank you,
Okay.
though, Mr. Shadi.
So,
Okay,
Mr.
let's
Johnson,
move
do you,
on to
do you
minutes and
see,
reports.
do you see the conflict between 3.2 and 5.5?
3.2,
Correct, 3.2 and 5.5 is the first one.
we can change business administrator to government body.
Sure.
Government body.
There's some more changes like that that need to be made.
Okay, but I don't see anything in here, there's a prohibition against the First Amendment at all, and I'll go furthermore, for the
Sure.
record, that when I put together this policy is the end result of reviewing numerous social media policies throughout the state of New Jersey. From the top of the state to the bottom of the state, they're basically along these lines. And the one thing you have to understand, this is a living document to the extent that anytime you want to modify it, it can be modified.
Yeah, no,
And I
Okay,
think it's enforceable.
Thank you. We're moving on. Minutes and reports, please.
Well, I still haven't finished with the credit card and debit card.
We're moving on.
Okay, so I'm going
Minutes
to
and
be
reports,
advertising the
please.
credit
Mr.
card.
Shahadi, we are moving on. Minutes and reports.
If you don't want the merchant
I don't.
services advertised for bid, then
Well, we can advertise them on your website.
that-
Move on.
that's not,
Move
I
on.
move to adopt the regular and executive meeting minutes of April 18th, 2017 as emailed.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions?
I don't know. Was I
You
here?
were not here, Mr. Huber.
I'm abstaining, you know.
I move to adopt the regular meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2017 as emailed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? We're going to accept the Union County draft meeting from May 3rd, and we'll also accept the flood mitigation minutes from June 20th as submitted. We're going to move on to new business. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance 2017-10. This ordinance amends Chapter 7, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets of the general ordinances of the township by amending Caldwell Place and Mizell Avenue.
I move to adopt ordinance 2017-10 as read by Madam Clerk.
Second.
At this time, anybody from the public would like to discuss this? Any comment regarding this ordinance? Is there a discussion up here regarding it?
No.
No,
Anyone?
no.
Okay, roll
Roll
call.
call?
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois?
Yes.
Mayor Stampoulis?
Yes. Madam Clerk, can you read the next ordinance by
Yes,
title?
ordinance 2017-11. This ordinance amends Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Township of Springfield. And I might just say the only change in that is the days are Monday through Saturday and not Monday through Friday. Okay.
All right. Madam Chairman, I vote to adopt 2017-11 as read by Madam Clerk.
Second.
Anyone from the public would like to discuss this ordinance? 2017-11? Any discussion up here?
No.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Committeeman Huber?
Yeah.
Committeewoman Du Bois?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
Yes.
Mayor Stampoulis?
Yes, we have no first readings. We're gonna move on to the rest of the resolutions.
Hang on one second. Can we just, the credit card thing, the credit card payment services? I know that that was something in Mr. Shahadi's report. That is something that I think has to go out to bid.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you put that on the next meeting? We'll move that for the next meeting in August. Let's adopt the rest of the resolutions by consent agenda. If anyone has any objection and would like any pulled, please let me know.
We're gonna pull 197.
Okay, can you let me start first?
I can, go ahead.
Resolution 2017-185, 2017-186, 2017-187, 2017-188, 2017-189, 2017-190,
I want to pull that.
2017-191, 2017-192,
I want to pull that just to explain that.
2017193, 2017194, 2017195, 2017196, 2017197, I'll pull, 2017198, 2019799. Would you like us to adopt those first and go back, or?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the other?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolutions 2017 by consent, so 2017-185, 186, 187, 188, 189, 191, 193, 194, 195, 196, 198, 199.
I second.
Roll call?
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
Yes.
Committeewoman DuBois?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Mayor Stampulis?
Yes. Okay, let's move on to resolution 2017190.
Okay. This resolution accepts the retirement of Detective Lieutenant Judd Levinson from the Police Department.
I pulled this because Judd has been a policeman here for forever that I know.
38?
38 years, is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, he seems the most unfriendliest person in the world if it passes. He does.
Did you just say that?
I'm honest. I'm not going to, he's not. But he isn't. He's a very nice person. I mean, Chief, am I lying? Come on, yeah. I mean, I used to pass him in the food market, and he wouldn't say a word to me for years.
Roasts by Rich.
But he's a good person. I like him. He's a very good detective. Very good. I mean, Chief, you want to say a few words about him?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't prepared to. I figured I would, because he's still around for a little while yet. But yeah, I mean, he's very well known throughout the county and the state for he's like one of the top fraud guys that's out there, and he always gets calls from federal agencies as well for his advice and knowledge on things. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what you did.
No, but I'm honest.
He's a great guy. He says it like it is, and
I like him.
yeah, I mean, he's
I was told in Union County.
He won't be insulted by what you say.
I know, it's hard to insult him. But if they had a problem and they needed a detective, they would call Springfield and he would help them. He was very good, very well known throughout the state. And I just think he should get some recognition.
Yes, I agree.
I wish him the best of luck. He's going to be around till the end of the year?
Till the end of November. November 30th is his last day.
No, it's not.
So I'll have something to say about him.
Okay.
Before
as
that.
good as I do?
I won't get myself in trouble.
Is
I'm
there
going
a
to have a
motion?
ticket on my car now.
Rich, you make a motion?
He is a resident, so he'll come to the meetings and harass you.
All right, a motion to accept 217-190, the retirement of Detective Lieutenant Judd Levinson.
I second.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Committeewoman DuBois?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
Yes.
Mayor Stampulis?
Yes.
And which
Okay,
one?
next resolution, 2017-192.
19.
All right,
This resolution authorizes the hiring of a part-time engineering technician.
Sam, I just misunderstood you when I talked to you earlier this morning. But can you please explain to us what that is and everything else?
Sure.
And how long you've been doing it?
Okay. About 9-10 years ago, I actually initiated this program where we hire an engineering student, junior or senior student from local universities for a very low, hourly rate, and that student would help us perform, some engineering tasks, including inspections and AutoCAD drafting and things like that. And I get the benefit of getting some technical help for very low cost, and the students get the benefit of getting very useful experience toward his future after they graduate. We have hired, I think, 7 or 8 students in the last 9 years, and each person usually end up getting a full-time position as soon as they graduate from college because of the experience they receive here. So it is very, very beneficial to both the student and to me and the township.
Great program. Do other townships do that? That's a great thing we do.
There are some towns, very few, but,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I misunderstood this morning, but I agree with that. And
Is there a
I'd like to
motion?
bring 2017 192, the resolution about hiring a part-time engineer technician.
I second.
Madam Clerk?
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois?
Yes.
Mayor Stamkoulis?
Yes. Okay, we pulled resolution 2017-195.
So the reason I pulled it is because,
195, Du Bois?
No.
I'm sorry,
Seven.
I'm
That's
197,
okay.
I apologize.
Okay. All right.
so, just for the public's knowledge, we have a social media policy. And so I pulled it because, you know, when I took this, I put it to the labor attorney, and I thought that, you know what, this is a labor issue, it should go to the labor attorney. That's why I did it. He came back with some recommendations that were a little different than what we have here. That's why I pulled it.
Okay, and for the record, we've had a social media policy issue for 3 or 4 months. We've had numerous emails and policy in drafts. No one ever responded or made comments until last week, and you decided on Friday to send it to the labor attorney when we had an issue last meeting.
Right,
So-
no, that, I'm sorry, that wasn't actually what happened. I had discussed it with the other committee woman, and we said we wanted to put it to a subcommittee, and you said no.
Because this isn't a subcommittee. The pool is a subcommittee. The finance department is a subcommittee. Social media policy is not a subcommittee.
Well, it's part of the business, it's part of the administration, and that's why we're on that subcommittee.
Okay, thank you, Jurian.
All right, I'd like to that social media resolution, or social media, whatever. All right, just add a few things. I believe that the policy should be expanded to include public information and events. I thought it did, maybe I misinterpreted it, but it should read that like 4th of July, celebration parades and whatever, and all of that.
It does include that for 313.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
no,
believe it.
there's a new version that was sent out. For 313, it says that this does not pertain to anything that's on our township calendar or social events. So all that stuff will be on our township
Right.
website.
Also, the one other thing is, to remove anything. We have if I read it correctly, I read it today about 3 or 4 times to make sure. Department heads can post something, am I correct?
The departments?
Department heads.
Yes.
But department heads aren't here, and the administrator's here. The administrator can pull it off if you want, am I correct?
Correct.
According to our policy.
Yes,
According to the new policy, yes. I thought I read it that way.
yes.
I wanted to make sure
It's
that,
not clarified in there that way.
well, I want to, if we have to, John, just put that on for the, for this, just make sure all sees that the administrator has a right, which I feel he should. If I put something on and I'm in recreation and it's wrong, it shouldn't be there, he has a right to
Yep.
pull it.
3.4, the township business administrator shall monitor any of the contents on the sites and so on.
Just as monitor doesn't, again, explain anything about removal or what happens
I'll
after
put that
it's
in,
monitored.
then when you.
Okay, add monitor and removal.
Removal.
Okay,
And what about county and state notices and stuff?
great.
That's on there.
That's all, all that stuff should be on our town website.
It is, yes, that is in the new one.
It's not in this policy.
Okay, is there a motion?
Wanna bring it?
I move to adopt resolution 2017-197 as read by Madam Clerk with the changes that we
Changes.
spoke about.
John Johnson, make a note of
Right.
change with the monitor and withdraw.
Yes,
Changes, all right?
yes.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Committeewoman Du Bois?
Yes.
Committeewoman Bujanowski?
No.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Mayor Stamkoulis?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, let's move on to discussion and action items.
I move to approve on-premise merchandise raffle license number 1275 and on-premise 50/50 raffle license 1276 to Home for Good Dog Rescue Incorporated. Drawings to be held on September 9th, 2017, at Mizell Park.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Okay.
I'd like to accept the resignation of Stephen Langert as Class 4 member of the Planning Board, term expiring December 31st, 2020, and County Revenue Sharing Board Representative, term expiring December 31st, 2017.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections?
Can I ask a question? Do we have any new applicants for that?
Yes, I have one coming your way.
Oh, I don't know.
I will be sending you an email tomorrow.
Okay.
We actually have 2 other spots available. There's an alternate 1 and 2, so
Okay.
feel free to send an email. Okay, next one.
Approval for on-premise merchandise raffle 1277 to Springfield Mayor's Day at Baltusville, as long as I win. Drawing to be held August 28th, 2017 at 201 Shumpike Road.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any objections? Any abstentions?
Request from Temple Shaarei Shalom for use of Veterans Park on Friday, September 8th for Shabbat Under the Stars.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions?
Second from Mark.
Okay, next one.
I move to accept the resignation of Tara Benino as a member of the Environmental Committee, term expiring December 31st, 2019.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Okay, any questions on the correspondence? 1 or 2? Okay. Any unfinished business?
I'd like to bring a few things up. I'm always a nice guy here. Okay, I happened to be over at the library, and I was going through some things. And I don't know, Ziad, if they told you when you took over the job. Anthony has started, Ed has started, something about the new phone system. They need a new phone system. This is what I'm told. Do you know anything about it? What do we?
I don't remember
I know
anything.
Anthony, they said Anthony had started and Ed kept on going with it. And then they probably didn't tell you. I
No,
don't-
I've talked to Dale about it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, I've talked to Dale about it.
All right, is that in the works on that?
It's all on them. They have a budget, they have a bond ordinance. Mr. Quicks provided them on 3 occasions a listing of all the bond ordinances. It's entirely up to them. We're just waiting from them. We hear a lot of back and forth on things, and then nothing ever gets followed up on. So
Okay.
it's entirely, it's in their court. They've got money. If they want to do it, like, for example, they just embarked on the card catalog system and the Morris County link system for the sharing. They have their own board of trustees. So if they want to do it, they can do it. We've given them the information they need to do it. Beyond that, I'm not sure what they're looking for.
All right. Sam, also, we only talked about this last year again. Did the boiler over there, is it good? The boiler, I thought they were gonna talk about replacing the boiler or something.
Yes, they are. That's another thing. And same
Okay.
thing, we've provided them with capital bond ordinances on 3 occasions. Michael Quick today sent another email, but Dale's out on vacation until
Oh, okay.
when? Yeah, so, but again, they've got the money. If they want to embark on the project, they certainly can.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, what it entailed, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Because I don't wanna get a call that they're freezing there instead of sweating, like 2 years ago.
You will anyway.
Okay.
Okay. At this time, any public comment about any governmental issues, please come forward, state your name and address, and be mindful of our 5-minute time limit.
Hello, Warren Temkin, 33 Kane Street. I'd like to speak tonight on behalf of the Springfield Flood Mitigation Committee, a few members here, and we always appreciate your
Welcome.
frequent
Thank you.
participation. So this committee looks at flooding risks throughout town and possible fixes, and another frequent topic of discussion there is the extreme escalating rate of flood insurance. This is a national issue, as there have been changes in legislation and the history of FEMA over the past decade or so, which I won't get into now. What was once somewhat affordable is really going through the roof. Just personally, my own is about $3,000, threatens to go up upwards of 25% per year without limit. So it was kind of a nuisance when I moved in. It's now very concerning. I don't have an exact number, but I understand there are hundreds of homes in the town that are affected by the rate of these increasing rates of flood insurance. The reason I bring this up now is just to flag for the committee's attention something called the CRS, the Community Rating System. And this is a program FEMA has in place by which a town can take steps ranging from minor to major and qualify through what I understand to be a formal and somewhat challenging process for an overall reduction in the rates of flood insurance that everyone in the town can benefit from if these requirements are met. I understand this can range up to 40-something%, but we see 10 to 20% reductions. It's small, but any bit of relief would help. I've also learned that many of our Union County neighbors, Cranford, Roselle Park, Rahway, Scotch Plains, have qualified for this program, and their residents are benefiting from it. I don't know the full history, but for some reason, Springfield is not currently in it. We talked about it at our committee. I believe Mr. Mardini is closely involved in looking at this. And I don't have a ton of information right now about the upfront expenses. I have made contact with mayors and workers in other towns who tell me there is an upfront investment to this, and ultimately it does benefit the town. If anyone thinks this is only a problem for the families and the homeowners, it's not, because as these rates increase, the prospect of foreclosure looms as families cannot accept these increases anymore. And I've also learned the town has properties in the flood zone and has to pay flood insurance. So again, I just emphasize that for the committee's notice, and this committee greatly appreciates your future support of this initiative.
And Mr. Chairman, I just want to let you know, thank you for all the work, all the hard work you've been doing, because I see the emails and you have been reaching out to all the towns, and Mr. Fernandez also sits on that board, but you really go out of your way, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, and I have a stake in the game with, where I chose to live. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, wait, Sam, are we in that program? We're in some program.
We are not in the CRS program. We are trying to get in that program. But as the gentleman mentioned, the process to get into this program is rather lengthy, time-consuming, and costly. So, but we are working toward that goal.
Wait a minute, and Lori can vouch for instance, didn't we go into some program a couple of years ago that you were getting certified for the flood? Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, just, I'm sorry.
State your name and address for the record.
Jerry Fernandez, 393 Hillside Avenue. No, we started getting information last year on this. The thing is, and as Sam and as you know, when you're working with FEMA, it's a whole big thing. The process, we're just trying to see if we qualify even, and Sam's been doing a great job. And the thing that can happen, what happens is this is so time consuming, and as Scott knows with FEMA, you almost need one person dedicated to this.
You do.
And other towns have hired consultants to help do this. And I think we're over, Sam, correct me if I'm not mistaken, but over about 300 homes in
Correct.
the area. And it is a big issue for residents in our towns, and it is going up 25% a year. And in my opinion, without knowing what these costs are though early, it's something that you may have to start looking at is hiring. I mean, Sam, as you know, has plenty to do. But perhaps in the future, we may have to look at hiring, or the town may have to look into hiring someone who can handle this. And the committee's been looking to see what other towns have done. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, other towns have done where they get someone to do all this FEMA work, because it's just overwhelming.
That's a great area for maybe a subcommittee.
And in the long run, this investment there would be a return. I don't know if our properties, I think you made a great point, which I never thought of, our properties, if they're in a flood zone, I don't know if we pay anything into this. higher insurance rate or not. I don't know how it works with the towns.
I believe we're in a flood zone here.
No, I know we are, but I don't know how the insurance works with that. But, you know, it's something definitely, we're planting the seeds. You know, planting the seeds to let you know that we may have to look into this in the future on hiring someone.
What about this intern that you've hired? Can we utilize him in any way for this?
No, because we only hire on somebody who's working 12 to 15 hours a week.
Again, it's very early. We don't know what costs we're talking about. The committee's doing a great job going out and trying to get more information on this, and I'm sure they'll be back in front of you with more information, more concrete information. But again, heads up, this might be coming down the road, and it is something that, in my opinion, is really, really necessary.
But besides the consultant, are there any other suggestions you have that the township, on our township committee level, we can start to do to help this process along?
You know, I think that's a good question. Perhaps, I mean, Sam's working on it right now.
Yeah.
I can suggest, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The outreach from the flood mitigation committee, maybe the township committee and social media, we can help to get more people involved, and more people volunteer, and then maybe they can have 2 or 3 people concentrate on that task.
I could tell you where this committee can really make a difference.
I'd be willing to help you with that. That's something that would
You know,
be beneficial.
we do need help in well, it's a separate issue, but there's a lot. I mean, when it comes to flooding, there's a lot of different issues.
I'm sure.
And I give a lot of credit to the people that are on the committee who've been on, because at one point, you know, right after a hurricane or right after Irene, it's a humongous turnout, and then little by little you get less people, but you get certain people because they're needed, because the faces up here change. So then, you know, they keep the new people up, almost change, except for Rich and Zia. But, you know, they need to keep everyone updated on what's going on when there are new people on the committee. So, you know, the Morris Avenue Bridge, years ago, that was a project that was set to go, and then it died down, and there wasn't a committee person up there that knew that that project had been started. You know, I was shocked as well as anyone. So to let people know the consistency of what they're doing. So that's it.
I thought we,
Go ahead.
one other thing, I know.
Oh, yeah, I just want to know, Barbara, our meetings tomorrow? The meeting's tomorrow, in case anybody wants to come? It's the third Tuesday. Oh, okay, I apologize. Okay.
Didn't we,
Third Tuesday?
I thought we were getting something in motion with credits and that for this.
We did, Mr.
Right?
Huber,
Yeah, I'm not that nuts.
but that takes so much effort just to get qualified to be in the program. We had
started it. We have
absolutely.
started it.
No, we already started. We're into the program. We already met with FEMA a couple times, and FEMA had an issue with some properties in the floodplain that received money beyond the 50% of the value of the structure. So, and if that's the case, then we do not qualify to be that program. So I'm working now on finding ways to get us to qualify in the program.
No, because I remember when that started, we started that.
Yeah.
Hello, Barbara.
Barbara Hickey, 23 Alvin Terrace. As you all know, I was here a few weeks ago asking you and you know, letting you know that we're going to be doing this. A couple of things that came to mind. I just recently found out that we have a grant writer, and I don't know if that would help. Maybe a grant writer could get some money that we could put towards the expense of this. When Oren looked at a few different towns, what they did was they hired consulting firms to do this. I don't know if, I mean, I understand the idea of the social media and getting more people in the committee, but I think you have to know what you're doing or have a background in it. I don't think it's like we can just get a couple people together and sit here and go through it. As you know, Sam, as I know from when the flood, dealing with FEMA and all, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of stipulations or whatever. And apparently, I think if we hire someone that has done this before, I think it would be beneficial and move us in the right direction. So one suggestion I have is maybe if we can, you know, do something, get a grant writer to get some money, and then we can put some money towards
You think
that.
a grant writer you think a grant writer could do that? I don't know.
If there are grants available, he scouts for them. So if there's a grant available, he would write for us. He hasn't found anything. I mean, this in and of itself is a program akin to that, but again, it's not a grant. So you're going to be hard pressed to find a grant to write this.
I don't think
know.
you can.
The other question I have, Sam, and I'm not trying to, put you on the spot now, but are we close to, we spoke a few weeks ago, looking at those 16 properties to see if you can touch base with me and we can try to see
Yeah,
where we are?
yeah,
with
we
that?
are.
Okay.
We made a headway, so I think our numbers that we got from the tax assessor are very promising, let's say.
Okay.
So we'll
Just-
talk. We'll
Okay,
talk.
good. Just to answer your question, Rich, we can't move ahead until we get this issue resolved.
Because I know we
did look at,
started.
yeah, no,
We did.
we looked at this a few years ago. We've been trying to look at this for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And nothing ever materialized because we just couldn't get it going. And in order for us to be an active member of the CRS program, we have
Yeah,
to
in
get
order
this
for us to
resolved.
qualify, we have to go through a process. Once you qualify,
process that we
then you can actually go through the process of applying.
Yeah.
It's a,
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
we haven't
It's a-
applied to be an active member. We were on there, but not active, and that's the big difference, and that's why
Thank you.
we can't get any, the flood insurances
Yeah.
are ridiculous, and they just keep going up for everyone.
I know.
A few things I just want to mention quickly. I brought it up at the last meeting, but there are some people from the Flood Mitigation Committee here, so I just want to mention it. We're approaching, unfortunately, and Jerry will remember this, we're approaching the season, the hurricane season, and I mentioned to you, Diane, I don't know if you've reached out to the other mayors, that hopefully there will be some kind of chain or procedure. God forbid, if we start having in August and September storms where they can lower the water in the reservoir a few days before, so that, could try to help us. And I'm sure, as most of you know, unfortunately, we found out like a month or so ago, there was a Change.org petition going around that the funding for the project at South Mountain Reservation is not on the federal funding. So all the work that we've been doing and all, we signed a petition to hopefully get it going, but with everything that's going on in the federal government, who knows what's going to happen? I'm not getting into the political side, but I'm just saying that might be off the table or delayed or whatever. In the interim, we have to look at, what I learned in the last 7 years, six years since Hurricane Irene, is you have to look at big and small. That's the large project. The smaller items are things within Springfield and things that we can do. And the other thing that I want to mention, which I've been speaking about this since after Hurricane Irene, and I feel I'm going nowhere with this, and Jerry has been helpful, but I think we have to make another visit to the county, is to try to do something about getting the silt under the Milltown Bridge cleaned. I mean, if you look at it, the tunnels, they're packed. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize this. In the event of a storm, we're downstream. The water's coming downstream. It can't go under that bridge with all the water, and it backs up, and that's exactly what happened in Hurricane Irene, and it backed up into our whole area. If we get hit with something, I mean, even if, and I've been trying to tell everyone that even if when they do the project in South Mountain, that bridge has to be cleaned because the water is not going downstream. And I've reached out to Bruce Bergen several times, asking him to help us as, a county executive and a member of Springfield. And I just keep getting rhetoric and going round and round and really just ignoring the heck out of me. So I'm at a very high, and so is the flood committee, frustration level.
If you go to the freeholder meeting, I'll go with you.
Well, thank you. We're going to ask as many people as we can, as we can get to go. Jerry came with us and he said, we went 2 years ago, we're going to have to go again. Because, I mean, I see them giving grants, and I'm not that I don't care what they do with other people, but they're giving grants to all these other places and all. And quite honestly, recently I saw there was something that Bruce talked about. He had some kind of a meeting, and people were asked, I know the pond at Mizell is being dredged, which is nice, and people talked about Bryant Park. Well, I'm reading this article, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, it's lovely to have it done, but that's not affecting flooding in people's homes.
Right.
The Milltown Bridge is affecting our homes, and
And the thing is,
where is the priority level, and where do people think,
Well, we
what the
give the
benefits
county
are?
a lot of money, and I don't think we get enough back from the county. So I would definitely think that that's a project that affects so many people. And I think that it's worth, going to the freeholder meeting and putting a little pressure.
Okay.
Also, I think
And Jerry has suggested it to get as many people as we can go. I mean, it'd be great if we have some of you people come, but also we would try to get residents and, of course, the people on the flood committee and go again, because I don't know what else to do, and I feel like I'm the only one that keeps bringing this up and round, and I mean, I know nobody wants to address it. I know it's an expensive project, but, the truth of the matter is, looking where we situate in Springfield and looking at the river, you have this huge problem right there. I mean, we've been staying on top of the Morris Avenue Bridge, and DPW has been very good with that, and we do stay on top of it, and they do. But then the next thing down, you go to Laurel Drive, and the next thing down is the Milltown Bridge, and if that's all packed, well, where do you think the water's gonna go?
Right.
It's gonna back up to our homes again.
Exactly.
And so I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Mr. Shahadi, would you reach out to the county regarding the Milltown Bridge, please, and see if they can address that? I know we did that last year, or the year before, or if it was DEP, whoever did that last time, maybe you can reach out to them again and address that issue before hurricane season. Hi.
Hi, my name is Lisa Halper. I live on 91A Troy Drive. And I'm here because of the notice of data breach that I received. And the reason I'm here is because the letter came on letterhead, which I had to assume came from this Township of Springfield, signed by you, Mayor. And I called the 1-800 number, which I had to assume was a number from the Township of Springfield. When I called the number, it was not. It was from the company. I asked them for details. They had none to give me. So I was a little upset about that. I've called here twice to get information. Nobody could give me any information. Again, I was a little upset about that. As a resident, I would like details. That's the first part of my question. The second part of my question is, my name is spelled incorrectly. It is not my complete address. When I spoke to the company, I told them, is that going to be a problem? They told me, yes, it will. If my credit is compromised and I call them and my credit is not matched to my incorrect name, they will not be able to help me because my name is wrong. What I don't understand is I have my tax bill with me. My name and my address is correct. I pay my taxes to the Township of Springfield, and it is correct. How is it possible that the township, you gave the Township of Springfield, which that's what they told me, you gave them my information, and it's wrong. My name is wrong, and my address is not complete, and yet it's wrong, but I pay my taxes here, and my name and address is 100% correct. They said they cannot rectify that. It has to come from you. How is it possible that they have all my information incorrect? That's upsetting to me. So A, I don't know what happened. Nobody here will give me any answers, and my name is wrong. That's really upsetting.
Do you recall who you spoke to here?
There?
No, here.
I don't. I got the runaround. Every time I called, nobody could switch me to the right department.
Okay, so let me address the first issue. We did have a data breach.
Sure.
We hired an outside firm.
Correct.
This entire committee took it upon to take the extra measures and hire an outside firm to deal with it. These are names that were in our database. So the way they're in the database was the way that they were provided to the company. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point.
That's correct so far.
So I don't know why her name would be.
Here's my tax bill, which is correct, and the name on this letter is wrong.
The tax bill has nothing to do with that, actually.
okay. I
They're
thought
completely
maybe-
different. No, this
Okay.
is completely different systems that we're talking
I thought maybe
about.
they were somehow.
Yeah, no.
Wrong.
And I apologize if you felt like you've gotten the runaround. I've answered, just in our office, we've answered several hundred calls. I haven't gotten a call from you. All of these get routed to me ultimately, and then.
Nobody could switch me to the right person. It was
Okay.
mind-blowing. And I just recently joined the pool, and I've been asking my friends, they can't answer the question from either.
Okay.
Nobody knows any
Well,
answers.
because of the fact that this is a data breach and there's privacy concerns, I don't want to speak to you anymore on this now in a public setting.
Okay,
Be
that's
happy to
fine.
talk to you aside.
That's fine.
And,
And what
you know.
about my name? I mean, this is
Right,
scary.
again, we could deal with those all,
It can be fixed?
absolutely.
Okay. Okay, then I'm good. It's just, I've been so upset, you have no idea. So I figured
I'm
this is the
sorry.
only way that I could get it fixed, is in a public arena, because I don't know what else to do. I've been living with this since I got the letter, and I even tried your office, and I couldn't even get your office.
I have a voicemail or I have.
Nobody could switch me anywhere.
And we have emails on the website.
Oh, I didn't know you
Okay.
even had an email. But
I
just,
apologize.
every time I call, I either got disconnected or nobody could route me to where I could be routed. It was unbelievable.
Okay, well, we'll have this addressed.
I appreciate that.
Do you mind giving her contact info?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
No, it's okay. Thank you for helping me.
Wendy Jones, 158 Milltown Road. I live right near Chisholm Park. and you now have the lights on the field. And one of my neighbors was telling me that the lights were on the field when there was no game, and they were on all night. And the neighbor wants to know who's paying for that.
At Chisholm Park?
Yeah.
Lights?
Yeah, lights on the field, those new lights that you put in for the night games. And there was no night game, but the lights were on all night.
I'm surprised because they go off by 9:30.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it was, but it was late. There was no game. I mean, those are not the security lights, right? So they're not the lights that were around the building. So if there's no game, the lights are supposed to be off, right?
Yeah, all the lights are on a timer, and every coach should be able to shut them off with a app, if I'm correct, from their phone.
No, not the coaches, but Adam's able to. But because I'm on the field often when the lights are on, and they shut off either at 9 or 9:30, whatever it's set for.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I could imagine they could have been on and there wasn't a game is if maybe it rained and something got rained out and somebody didn't shut off. But for it to be on all night, I mean, obviously if they saw it, it happened, but it must have been some sort of mistake because they're very good at.
Okay, so that's an aberration. All right.
Yeah, because we've been on the field when they literally go off and the girls are still packing their bags.
Right.
They're set on a timer, which is a good thing.
Right. It's not motion.
It's not even an aberration.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll ask the neighbor to check, and if it happens again, I'll let you know. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Barbara Rappaport, 50 Country Club Lane. I'm also a member of the Flood Mitigation Committee. I'm the reporting secretary. You may have seen my name. I do. Yeah. And the reason I'm here is, as Freeholder Bergen was mentioned, I believe one of the major issues is the fact that the situation with the Milltown Bridge is also on county property. It's in Springfield, but it's county property, which means the county must take certain actions before that can be cleared. And I did send an email to Freeholder Bergen, and one issue we have is the fact that for some reason we can't get an answer as to why, and it's a 5-year process, they haven't even applied for a permit from DEP to allow any possible equipment to be brought into that space. The freeholder has not made any effort to even apply for that needed permit, which for some reason is a 5-year process. Just one of our issues with the freeholder board.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay, moving on to executive. Madam Clerk, can you please read the resolution by title?
Okay, Resolution 71717. Whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, and whereas the Township Committee will during this meeting enter into discussion of the following matters, the mayor has advised that contract negotiations for IT will be taken off. We will speak on personnel for police, whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence by all Township Committee members in furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the Township. Now therefore be it resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exists.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion.
To adopt. All in favor?
I'll second.
Aye. Okay, also at this time, I'd like the public to know that we will not be taking any action after. We'll be coming out and adjourning the meeting. Thank you and have a good evening.
I'm sorry? I guess not. What is? Huh?